I wish I had the answer for how to be successful, get things done. I know how to do it. Like I know the formula, but then I don't know the formula for whatever your purpose, meaning internal motivation is to want to be successful, and if that is there strong enough. It seems like people generally have it or they don't. That's probably some combination of nature and nurture, probably a lot of nurture, a lot of environmental factors. But I could tell you exactly what to do. The success formula is you try a lot of things, you listen to feedback, you try to be hyper self-aware, and you put in a lot of hours for 10 years. You put in hours for 10 years, right? That means every single day you're doing stuff. You're getting things done, iterating, learning, experimenting, failing, making mistakes, and you keep going and you keep getting better. That is the formula for how to be successful at anything. But I don't know the formula for how you become a person that is intrinsically motivated enough, because this has to come from the inside. Cannot come from somebody else. I don't know how to convey that to you. I can give you recommendations based on my experience, what I think might work, like reading books, probably losing my dad early in life, which I wouldn't recommend. But playing games, real-time strategy games, Age of Empires, and like being obsessed with winning and getting better, somehow happening into a growth mindset around most things. I don't know. It's like all those things. But how do I say, here's a 10-step process to build the inner confidence/desire that's needed to go out into the world and create success for yourself? It's the most brutal thing probably you'll ever do. It's also the most rewarding. And not even from a financial perspective. It's more rewarding from a personal development perspective. I've seen a lot of people over the years that want to be successful. Like obviously friends and family, they watch me have businesses, whatever, they want to do it. They might even ask for advice or whatever. But I totally gave up trying to encourage them to do it. And I totally gave up offering advice with that sliver of hope that they might do something with it. I don't even try. And I now know that even if they do ask for advice, it's unlikely they're going to take it and take action. And then I've seen other people that are just they just get stuff done. They think, they act, and really that's what it is. They act more than anything. They act. They take action consistently. And honestly, I've not found a lot of people in life that are like that the way I am. I haven't found a lot in life. There's plenty online, of course, because there's tons of successful people, and there's tons of people that work probably more hours than me. I feel like I'm pretty. There may not be a lot of people that are more productive than me. I mean, I guess some, it depends, but that kind of gets back to what are you working on? What are you doing? When you're an entrepreneur, you have to manage employees and businesses, finances. There's a lot of balls in the air you have to juggle. So it's hard to be really good at any one thing. Whereas if you take somebody like Cal Newport, who wrote Deep Work, which I highly recommend, he's been able to pump out a bunch of papers, and he's also a teaching professor. And apparently he doesn't work, I think, more than 6 hours a day or something like that. It's he's been very prolific, right? Or also Adam Grant. I think he's another one that got tenure, has published a bunch of books and papers, and just seems to be hyper productive. But again, when you have employees and you're doing creative work and you're mostly kind of working for yourself, whatever, it is. I'm not going to say it's easy. I'm going to say it's simple. It's straightforward. Business entrepreneurship, not so simple, not so straightforward. Way more complex. Way more things you have to do, consider. Way more things that kind of suck up your energy, and maybe it brings some results later, maybe it doesn't. It's just hard to know with these things. You have to really think long term. I mean, the feedback loops in business can sometimes be 6, 12, 18 months, 2 years, 5 years, 10 years. Meaning you can make an investment and it doesn't really pay off for 2, 5, or 10 years. That's pretty wild. So I don't know how you can develop intrinsic motivation. I don't know. I might even, if I had to err on one side, I might even say or think that you can't do it until you feel inside that the fear of not doing something, not trying, not being successful is more than the pain of doing it. Until that is the equation inside you, in your psyche, until that is there, you will not do it because comfort will always call, and it will be the siren song that will be too strong to resist. Maybe it's a near-death experience. Maybe it's going into monk mode and self-exploring and trying psychedelics. I don't know. There's a lot of things that could maybe help you have some kind of major epiphany or revelation. But I'm not so sure that you can just pop a pill or take some drugs or go on a 10-day meditation retreat. I'm not so sure you could just kind of do that. I don't know. I mean, maybe it's possible, and I'm sure some people do. But it's like, were they already people that had all the nature and nurture, but they were held back for some reason? Like, it almost seems like you either have it or you don't, which is not a very motivating idea. And I get that. But I would say it's also very, it's not motivating, but you can appreciate it because it's truth. And you can let go of some of your anxiety if you feel guilty about not doing it. In fact, I think a simple life where you live below your means. Now, I mean, sorry, but inflation, money printing, U.S. debt, I don't even know if that's possible, but let's just assume we lived in a world where you could live a simple life, live below your means, make money, not have to continually work harder for less due to inflation and government incompetence, which I won't get into, but it's like, if we lived in that world, that life I think would be better. Of course, if it appeals to you and you get fulfillment out of it and you focus on relationships and meaning and things like that, for sure, right? But somebody that gets fulfillment out of work and money will find that it only goes so far. Then you need people and relationships and meaning and purpose and all these other things, right? Money is important and work is important. And if you enjoy entrepreneurship and building things and creating things, then that is how you derive your meaning. And money, in a way is connected to that. And there's nothing wrong with that. The problem is when you go to the point where you so focus on the money and the success that you kind of let other things fall by the wayside, like relationships, health, whatever. And then you get to that point where you have that money, that fame, that success, that whatever. And then all you want, because now you have all the time and opportunity, all you want are genuine relationships and genuine health, two of which you cannot buy. Two things you cannot buy. All right, little tangenty and rambly, but we're going to get back at it every day. I'm already 3 days in. Let's not break the chain. I'm not going to even summarize that because there's not really any summary. It's I don't know if you can be intrinsically motivated, but the equation to success is doing lots of focused work while learning, experimenting, and being self-aware, and being letting go of your ego as much as possible, because the market and people and money and whatever and success doesn't care about your ego. It really doesn't. It cares about whether you're delivering value to people, and then they will pay you in exchange, right? You do that for 10 years and you'll be successful. You'll be self-made, you could say. But the question is, how do you find a why that will get you out of bed, that will get you to turn off Netflix, that will get you to get off your phone, get off social media, and invest, those 2 hours a day of deep, intense focus. In fact, I'll leave you with something I've observed of friends and family over the years. It's I've had friends that were going to start a business, and they were all in. They were looking for, in fact, well, I don't want to kind of share that, but that's kind of too. They were literally right there. I gave them, 30-minute playbook of everything. How to raise the money, how to map out the business plan, how to appeal to people with money. She even had people willing to give her money, give her a loan, whatever. And it's pretty sure she hasn't made any progress on building the thing she needed to build. And it's just now it's probably just this idea she had one day. And it's sad. I'm not suggesting it's as easy as that. But the reality is, if all you did was take like one action a day, even if you have kids or other responsibilities, or if it's your side hustle. If you took one action a day, called one vendor, got pricing, negotiated one thing, compared, like did some research on online or on YouTube, like if you did just one thing a day and you kept momentum going, most people, even if they're not through and through entrepreneurs and going to completely change their life, most people could get success with projects and side hustles if they just did that. But for whatever reason, most people can't. That's what boggles my mind. There is some kind of incongruence in their identity, or they're afraid of, like, quote unquote failing and wasting money or whatever. I don't know what that is, and I'm sure it's a little bit different for everybody, but there is some universal constant that separates those that do the things, that will literally create a spreadsheet, a business plan, and call 10 vendors in a day like me, right? Or those that will get advice from somebody like me on doing those exact things, even going online, finding links to the vendor with pricing so you can compare for this piece of equipment you need, and then literally not even calling the equipment manufacturers to get a quote, or like doing simple basic stuff, literally doing nothing, having like all that information, having a link, having someone to call, super easy, phone call, not a huge deal, but just straight up won't do it. What the fuck? I don't understand. I don't know.